Hello, this is the last part of our of this chapter, and like I was talking about in the previous video, you're usually going to see that the developed countries, just because there's more technology to technological development, there's medical development, so infant mortality rate is pretty low. The birth life expectancy of that child that's born is pretty high. That is pretty high right here. Life expectancy in years is also pretty high. Developing countries, again, it's not like it used to be in the past. There's a lot of medical development everywhere. The bigger difference is in this area, in infant mortality rates. Carrying capacity of the globe, some economists, some demographics have argued that it's about 10 billion. Some have argued that we've already reached our capacity. So anything and everything that influences the size of an animal population. Careful! Jeez! Anything and everything that influences the size of a brood of animals, a pack of deer, a pack of hyenas, is also going to influence human population sizes. However, we do, like throughout the chapter we've been talking about, there are different ways in which we subsidize death, because we have medical technology, and we don't really stop reproduction. Our reproduction is more selective, based on mate selection. It's not as intense at some points of time, and is not as intense when it comes to, when you think about how animals select their mates. We're not that discriminating. Carrying capacity of humans is uncertain. Obviously, different scientists and different analysts will give you different numbers. Ecological footprint. This is the exercise that you just did in your apes class. So I'm not going to explain this whole thing again, because all of you actually have done an exercise in this. And I think most of us ranged from me being on the very high side. The class, I think, ranged from anywhere from 8.6 on the higher end to 2.3 on the lower end, when it came to how many Earths we would require for if each and every one of us on Earth had the same lifestyle as was measured for the people taking part in the survey. This is a good idea. This kind of gives you the ecological footprint of each country. You could see where the United States is. Countries that are developing usually are on the lower spectrum. Countries that are very well developed are on the higher spectrum. It also depends on the available ecological capacity per person. Today, this number of 6 billion we've kind of surpassed that. We're closer to 7 billion. Some studies indicate that we're already in an ecological deficit. If you remember what you read in the End of Food book, it kind of explains the problems that we have with food, shelter, space, resources. The end. So I will just go over this chapter. There's not going to be a ton of questions. Think about things in terms of what is it that impacts a population. A lot of your questions will be pertaining to that kind of, most of them will be multiple choice questions, and your questions will basically be what are the things that influence population size, both biotic and abiotic factors. Things to also remember is density dependent, density independent factors, things like similipatry and iteropatry. Those are the things that you definitely will have questions on. You might have a question on demographic analysis. What is the impact in terms of biology? What's the impact of different age structure curves that you see out here. You might have a question on that. You might have a question of how do you determine population. Remember the growth curves. You definitely will have a question on that. So this kind of gives you an idea of what type of questions you're going to see. You definitely would also have, you for sure will have a question on carrying capacity. So this should help you out. I'm going to upload another chapter, community ecology, probably tomorrow sometime. So see you guys in class tomorrow. Bye.